Welcome, everyone, to the 2021 Jesse H. Neal Awards. The Neals are brought to you by SIIA and Gather Voices. Now, please welcome President of SIIA, Jeff Joseph.
Hi, I'm Jeff Joseph. I'm so thrilled to welcome you to this year's Jesse H. Neal Awards. Now, for those of you who don't know, SIIA is the umbrella organization representing the specialized information industry and associations. Our members provide the critical data, content, and information that drives the global economy, informs financial networks, connects learners and educators, and produces better health outcomes. We work tirelessly to help you grow your business through our educational and networking opportunities, our conferences, research, our government affairs advocacy, IP protection services, and certification programs. You can learn more about us at SIIA.net. Today, we're proud to honor the best B2B journalism and showcase your extraordinary work breaking news across global and domestic marketplaces. The Neal Awards have never been as relevant or consequential as they are today. In an unprecedented year in which we endured a pandemic, experienced racial and social strife, inhabited a divided America, and learned to pivot in almost every aspect of our lives, your teams and newsrooms delivered a trot of journalistic excellence. You kept us informed and helped us weather this challenging era. We saw this across the nearly 500 entries this year. This year's winners will join an elite group of professionals whose work reflects the impact and power of business information content. We'll also honor the recipients of 4 special leadership awards for outstanding work and dedication to business journalism. Amanda?
Thanks, Jeff. Before we get started, I'd like to draw your attention to our digital program on the event homepage. Just click Overview on the left of your screen. Let's recognize our panel of judges who thoughtfully deliberated to select today's Neal Award winners. Please join me too in thanking our 2021 Neals Committee, who offered invaluable time and counsel across many months of planning and production. You'll be seeing the committee popping up throughout the program today, announcing our winners and hosting breakout rooms. Let's give all of our volunteers a round of applause. You can chat here and hop in on your right. Finally, we're delighted to share, despite not being together in person, that there will be some built-in networking opportunities to our program today. At 2 points throughout this afternoon's program, our Fearless Neals Committee will be hosting small breakouts where you can opt in, jump on camera, and make some new connections. We'll also have a video booth where you can capture and then tweet out your congratulations to your team, plus a collaborative art piece on Miro where the Neal's community can come together. To access these spaces, please click on the navigation bar on your left and follow the instructions to participate. We hope you'll join in the chat and in the interactive features today to connect with your Neal's community. Back to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Amanda. And thanks to all of you for your support. Congratulations to all of our finalists and our winners. And now, let's get started.
The Neal Awards celebrate unique career achievements and honor exceptional work across 24 different categories. Many of these awards are broken into 3 different groups reflecting gross advertising and circulation revenue. To kick off the program, we're going to start with Best Technical or Scientific Content, recognizing substantive articles that explain a new process, technology, or scientific principle. The finalists in the first revenue category are Sustainability Snapshot, Making Practical Progress in the Chemical Process Industries, Chemical Engineering Magazine, Access Intelligence. Earned Wage Access, a coronavirus fad or a turning point for payroll. Payment Source, Arisent. Understanding Architectural Glass, From Spandrel to Interlayers, U.S. Glass Magazine, Key Media and Research, and Delivering Detailed Medical Information to Clinicians During COVID-19, Diagnostic and Interventional Cardiology, Wainscott Media. And the Neal goes to Delivering Detailed Medical Information to Clinicians During COVID-19, Diagnostic and Interventional Cardiology, Wainscott Media. The winner in the next revenue category is Autonomous Truck Technology, Heavy Duty Trucking, Bobbitt Business Media. Our last set of finalists for Best Technical or Scientific Content represent publications with more than $7 million in revenue. Storytelling makes technical projects accessible. Engineering News Record, BNP Media. Quantum Computers Scale Up, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. The Node is Nonsense, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. And The Shifting SMA Market, Money Media FT. And the Neal goes to Storytelling Makes Technical Projects Accessible, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. Best News Coverage recognizes excellence in covering news as it happens or develops over time. The finalists in this category define journalistic excellence, providing actionable news and critical decision-making information to their target audiences. The finalists in the first revenue category are the Promotional Products Industry's Shift to PPE, ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute. Transit Industry's Fight for Federal Emergency Relief, Mass Transit Magazine, Endeavor Business Media. Federal Supercomputers and the COVID-19 Response, NextGov, Government Executive Media Group. Truckers' Hours of Service Revision, Overdrive, Randall Riley. And the Neal goes to Federal Supercomputers and the COVID-19 Response, NextGov, Government Executive Media Group. The finalists in the next revenue category for Best News Coverage are A Cure for Hemophilia Seemed Closer Than Ever. For many patients, it's now further out of reach. Biopharma Dive, Industry Dive. Payroll Protection Loans, a peril for many RIAs. Wealthmanagement.com, Informa. How Teladoc's blockbuster deal could impact the entire virtual care landscape. Fierce Healthcare, Questex, and Paycheck Protection Program, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to Paycheck Protection Program, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And our last set of finalists in this category are Breakout Border Wall Construction Coverage, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. The Richards Group coverage, Ad Age, Crane Communications. Derecho Impact, Trail of Destruction, DTN Progressive Farmer, and COVID News Coverage, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. And the Neal goes to COVID News Coverage, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. A compelling feature series combines careful strategic planning and outstanding reporting to keep an audience coming back for more. The finalists for this year's Best Series in the first revenue category are Mapping the Rise of Ghost Kitchens, Restaurant Dive, Industry Dive. Exploring Diversity and Inclusion in the Biopharma Industry, In Vivo, Informa Pharma Intelligence. Did Edward Jones set Black FAs up to fail? Financial Advisor IQ, Money Media FT. Cash Flow Crisis, Overdrive, Randall Riley. And the Neal goes to Mapping the Rise of Ghost Kitchens, Restaurant Dive, Industry Dive. The finalists in the next revenue category for Best Series are Lockdown Life, PR Week, Haymarket Media. Special Report, How Racism Impacts Construction, Construction Dive, Industry Dive. The Burgerim Disaster, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to The Burgerim Disaster, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And now our last set of finalists in the Best Series category. Crane's Forum, Crane Chicago Business, Crane Communications. Sustainability in Aviation and Aerospace, Aviation Week and Space Technology, Informa. A hard look at ESG, Fundfire, Money Media FT. 2020 U.S. elections, commodities and markets, S&P Global Platts, S&P Global. And the winner of the 2021 Neal for Best Series for publications with more than $7 million in revenue goes to Crane's Forum, Crane Chicago Business, Crane Communications. A talented art director is skilled at presenting complex and compelling information while being consistent with the audience, mission, and voice of the publication. The finalists for Best Art Direction for a Cover in the first revenue category are October Cover, Leader's Edge, Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers. The Future of Restaurants issue, Plate, MTG Media Group. Mixed Use Maze, Multifamily Executive, Zonda Media. Short-Term Boom, Multifamily Executive, Zonda Media. And the Neal goes to Short-Term Boom, Multifamily Executive, Zonda Media. The finalists in the $3 to $7 million revenue range are Lady Liberty Masked, Crane's New York Business, Crane Communications. FSD Top 100, Food Service Director, Winsight. Grocery Rolls with COVID Punches, Winsight Grocery Business, Winsight. August Cover, Food Service Equipment and Supplies, Zumba Group. And the Neal goes to Grocery Rolls with COVID Punches, Winsight Grocery Business, Winsight. And now our last set of finalists for Best Art Direction for a Cover. Powering Through a Pandemic, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. The New Normal, Investment News, Bonhill Group. Aviation in Crisis, Aviation Week and Space Technology, Informa. Black Hole, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. And the Neal goes to Black Hole, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. Next up is a new category to the Neals this year, Best COVID-19 Subject-Related Package, examining a content package that explores COVID-19 as a topic. The finalists for Best COVID-19 Subject-Related Package in the first revenue category are Returning to the Office, ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute. Tackling the Mental Health Crisis, Employee Benefit News, Horizon. 6 Months In, Healthcare Dive, Industry Dive. The American Journal of Nursing's COVID-19 coverage, Walters Kluwer. And the Neal goes to 6 Months In, Healthcare Dive, Industry Dive. The finalists in the $3 to $7 million revenue range are Crane's New York Business COVID-19 coverage, Crane Communications, Meeting Place, COVID-19 Subject-Related Package, MTG Media Group. Portraits in Healthcare, Fierce Healthcare, Questex. Coronavirus and Restaurant Technology, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to Coronavirus and Restaurant Technology, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And now our last set of finalists for Best COVID-19 Subject-Related Package. Coping with COVID-19, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. Clinician's Brief, Navigating Veterinary Practice with COVID-19, Clinician's Brief, Brief Media. COVID-19 and IT, Computer World, IDG Communications. A Special Report, The Next Pandemic, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. And the Neal goes to A Special Report, The Next Pandemic, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media.
Good afternoon. Each year at the Neals, we present our prestigious Leadership Awards, celebrating iconic individuals for their vision, accomplishments, and contributions to the industry. In memory of Donald McAllister Sr., an active voice in specialized business publications for more than 70 years, the McAllister Editorial Fellowship promotes the study of writing and editorial management for business media and is awarded by the Business Press Educational Foundation. On behalf of the McAllister family, I'm pleased to share that the 28th annual winner and the 2021-22 McAllister Editorial Fellowship is Emma Beckett of Industry Dive, where she is editor of Restaurant Dive. As chief editor, Emma was selected for the series Ghost Kitchens, a 2021 Neal finalist, and will visit Northwestern, present her work to classes, meet with Medill faculty, and connect with B2B graduate students. Today we honor your work, Emma. Congratulations.
Hello, everyone. It is such an incredible honor to receive the McAllister Editorial Fellowship. I'd like to thank the Neal Awards for this amazing opportunity and Industry Dive for giving its journalists the creative freedom and resources to develop incisive, original reporting. Most of all, I'd like to thank my stellar colleagues, reporter Julie Littman and my managing editor, Taifi Lei. This was a team effort, and I'm so privileged to work with you both. Our Ghost Kitchen series began with a recurring question. Can this model be the pandemic lifeline so many restaurants hope it could be? That question developed into a months-long investigation into what it takes to make a ghost kitchen profitable and how this model could help the restaurant industry's recovery and shape its long-term future. I'm so proud of this series and the valuable insight it offers our readers, and I'm excited to share with Medill journalism students how our small team scaled an idea into a flagship project. Thank you.
Our next category is Best Commentary and Blog. Here we recognize those editors who have expressed their own opinions and viewpoints on a subject matter that impacts their target audience or industry. The finalists for Best Commentary and Blog in the first revenue category are Business Insurance Group, Business Insurance, Beacon International Group, Alicia Powell Gillis Commentary, Route 50, Government Executive Media Group, Pardon the Disruption, Grocery Dive, Industry Dive, Channel 19 Blog, Overdrive, Randall Riley. And the Neal goes to Pardon the Disruption, Grocery Dive, Industry Dive. The finalists in the $3 to $7 million revenue range are Aaron Elstein's In the Markets column, Crane's New York Business, Crane Communications. From the editorial director, Police One Lexapol. I got a positive COVID-19 antibody test. What do I do with that? Fierce Healthcare, QuestX, The Bottom Line, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to The Bottom Line, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And our last set of finalists for Best Commentary and Blog are On Advice by Bruce Kelly, Investment News, Bonhill Group, Windows Commentary, Computer World, IDG Communications, British biplanes had wireless phones, April, How the Digital Camera Transformed Our Concept of History, July, When X-rays were all the rage, November, IEEE Spectrum Magazine, IEEE Media. Must read, Daily Analysis for Commercial Aviation Executives, Aviation Week Intelligence Network, Informa. And the Neal goes to On Advice by Bruce Kelly, Investment News, Bonhill Group. Best Podcast, one of our largest, most competitive categories this year, recognizes excellence in covering news as it happens or develops over time. The finalists in this category define journalistic excellence, providing actionable news and critical decision-making information to their target audiences. Our outstanding finalists in the category of Best Podcast are Access Denied, Systemic Racism in Financial Services, American Banker, Verizon. HDT Talks Trucking Podcast, Heavy Duty Trucking, Bobbitt Business Media, Daily Drive Podcast, Automotive News, Crane Communications, Over the Road, Overdrive, Randall Riley. And the Neal goes to Access Denied, Systemic Racism in Financial Services, American Banker, Verizon. Instructional content literally focuses on informing audiences. It's everything from how-to pieces to thought-provoking educational content that helps readers do their job better. The finalists for Best Instructional Content in the first revenue category are Being a Good Pilot Requires More Than Knowing How to Fly, Business and Commercial Aviation, Informa. Emergency Medicine Reports, Relias Media. Critical Care Alert, Relias Media. And How Should HR Handle Political Discussions at Work, HR Magazine, SHRM. And the Neal goes to How Should HR Handle Political Discussions at Work, HR Magazine, SHRM. And closing the category is brand revenue of more than $7 million. The Neal goes to Handy Devices, DTN, Progressive Farm.
I'm pleased to highlight our finalists in the next category, Best Subject-Related Package. Different from a series, a story package represents two or more stories exploring a common topic across multiple platforms. The finalists in the first revenue category are The Trust Issue, Counseling, Advertising Specialty Institute, Disposing Forever Toxics, How the Waste and Recycling Industry is Tackling the PFAS Chemical Crisis, Waste Dive, Industry Dive, Post-Traumatic Stress to Post-Traumatic Growth, How Medical Cannabis is Helping Veterans with PTSD, Cannabis Patient Care, MJH Life Sciences, When the Smoke Clears, A Surgeon's Guide to Cannabis, Same-Day Surgery, Relias Media. And the Neal goes to Disposing Forever Toxics, How the Waste and Recycling Industry is Tackling the PFAS Chemicals Crisis, Waste Dive, Industry Dive. Our next group of finalists are How much has executive diversity changed in retail? Retail Dive, Industry Dive. Special Report, Diversity in Leadership, Mun Media, FT. Evolving Kitchens, Restaurant Business, Winsight. What does real action look like? Architect, Zonda Media. And the Neal goes to Evolving Kitchens, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And our last group in the category highlights finalists with a brand revenue of more than $7 million. The Future of Cities, The Bond Buyer, Horizon. Outsourcing cuts costs, but at what cost to internal culture? Modern Healthcare, Crane Communications. How Israel Keeps Its Edge, Aviation Week and Space Technology, Informa. The Solar Winds Hack, CRN, The Channel Company. And the Neal goes to The Future of Cities, The Bond Buyer, Horizon.
Best New Product is a new category to the Neals this year, recognizing innovation and new product development that delivered measurable results. Our outstanding finalists in the category of Best New Product are Farm Journal Field Days, Farm Journal. Freight Waves Virtual Events, a unique user experience, Freight Waves. Aviation Week bridges the gap with MRO Transatlantic Virtual, Aviation Week, Informa. Restaurants Rise, Nation's Restaurant News, Informa. And the Neal goes to Restaurants Rise, Nation's Restaurant News, Informa.
Good afternoon. The Hollywood Reporter, Aviation Week, Heavy Duty Trucking, American Lawyer. What does this group of wildly different B2B brands have in common? All have been guided by recipients of our next leadership award. The G.D. Crane Jr. Award recognizes a career of outstanding contribution and commitment to editorial excellence in business media. It honors the founder of Crane Communications, Gustavus Dedmund Crane Jr., who was a pioneer in modern business journalism. Today, his namesake company delivers expertise and insight to more than 6 million business leaders worldwide. This year, we are pleased to present the G.D. Crane Jr. Award for a distinguished editorial career to Bibiana Campos-Sejo, Vice President, C&EN Media Group, and Editor-in-Chief of Chemical and Engineering News. Since Dr. Campos-Sejo took the helm of C&EN at the end of 2014, the group has undergone a significant transformation from a news organization centered around a lauded but niche print publication to a global multi-channel media brand. Under her leadership, C&EN has received a number of accolades and awards recognizing its editorial leadership, design, multimedia products, innovative culture, and more. Congratulations on this outstanding achievement.
Hello everyone. I'm honored to be the 2021 recipient of the G.D. Crane Jr. Award and to join the list of illustrious awardees who have received this accolade since 1969. It is always fantastic to receive any kind of recognition from your peers, and it is especially sweet to receive it at this point given the terrible year that we have had, suffering from a global pandemic that has had us in lockdown for about a year and a half now, and also after living through some troubling social unrest in the United States that has affected us all. I am very thankful to be receiving this award today. I would like to thank my team at Chemical and Engineering News, who are fantastic. It's a pleasure working with you. And I'd like to thank SIIA and the selection committee for recognizing my contribution to our industry. Thank you very much.
Our next category, Best Infographics, delivers innovative solution making complex data and information accessible and engaging to readers. The 2021 finalists in the category of Best Infographics are CS News Dynamic Infographics, Convenience Store News, Ensemble IQ. Progressive Grocer Protein Deep Dive, Progressive Grocer, Ensemble IQ. Freight Waves Infographics, The Heart of the Matter, Freight Waves, American Shipper, Freight Waves. McKinsey for Kids, McKinsey Global Publishing, McKinsey and Company. And the Neal goes to McKinsey for Kids, McKinsey Global Publishing, McKinsey and Company.
In journalism, people are our business. Where would we be without the extraordinary stories about fascinating people? Our next category, Best Profile, brings those stories about people, businesses, institutions, and/or associations to life. Our first group of finalists are Hello Fun, Landscape Architecture Magazine, April 2020. Landscape Architecture Magazine, American Society of Landscape Architects. Aaron Fish, A Life Well Lived, SecurityInfoWatch.com, Endeavor Business Media. How Hershey CEO Michelle Buck came to create a snacking powerhouse. Food Dive, Industry Dive. Power to the People, Qualified Remodeler, Solagroot. And the Neal goes to Hello Fun, April 2020, Landscape Architecture Magazine, American Society of Landscape Architects. The finalists for the next revenue category for Best Profile are A Day with Jennifer Doudna, trying to keep up with one of the world's most sought-after scientists, Chemical and Engineering News, American Chemical Society. After weeks of dire hospital conditions, doctors and nurses face their own mental health crisis. Crane's New York Business, Crane Communications. 250 miles on the road to recovery, Police One, Lexipol. Peter Cancrow's high-touch approach to growth, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to A Day with Jennifer Doudna, trying to keep up with one of the world's most sought-after scientists, Chemical and Engineering News, American Chemical Society. And closing the category are finalists with brand revenue of more than $7 million. Walking the Walk, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. Best Profile, Mayo Clinic wants to make Rochester a global medical destination. But who benefits? Modern Healthcare, Crane Communications. Young, Black, first-generation American determined to succeed as a farm owner. DTN, Progressive Farmer. The Father of FinFETs, IEEE Spectrum Magazine, IEEE Media. And the Neal goes to Walking the Walk, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. We're up to Best Editorial Use of Data. This is work that leverages relevant data across platforms. Finalists demonstrate ability to assess and present informative data while maintaining high levels of editorial craftsmanship, journalistic enterprise, and innovation. Our outstanding finalists in the category of Best Editorial Use of Data are Why Consumers Are Now Driving the Future of Money, Payments Source, Horizons. How Biotech and Pharma Companies Pay Their CEOs and Their Workers, Biopharma Dive, Industry Dive. The Aftermarket's Recovery, Inside MRO, Informa. A Tale of 2020 in 20 McKinsey Charts, McKinsey Global Publishing, McKinsey & Company. And the Neal goes to How Biotech and Pharma Companies Pay Their CEOs and Their Workers, Biopharma Dive, Industry Dive.
Websites are so essential in our everyday life. Our next category recognizes the best websites that maximize use of the medium's immediacy, depth, and interactivity to meet the needs of the target audience. Our first group of finalists for Best Website are modernretail.co, Digiday Media, freightwaves.com, a vital multimodal resource, FreightWaves American Shipper, defenseone.com, Government Executive Media Group, McKinsey.com, McKinsey Global Publishing, McKinsey & Company. And the Neal goes to McKinsey.com, McKinsey Global Publishing, McKinsey & Company. The finalists in the next revenue category for Best Website are financialplanning.com, Horizon, accountingtoday.com, Horizon, policeone.com, Lexipol, restaurantbusinessonline.com, Winsight. And the Neal goes to restaurantbusinessonline.com, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And closing the category are AmericanBanker.com, Horizon, ENR.com, Engineering News Record, BNP Media, AdAge.com, Crane Communications, CSOonline.com, IDG. And the Neal goes to AdAge.com, Crane Communications. Our third leadership award this afternoon honors excellence in mentorship. Marianne Decker-Matera was the longtime chief editor of RN Magazine and Medical Economics and the managing editor of MedPage Today, winning 18 Neal Awards over her career. Though an exceptional journalist, her standout gift was mentoring. A dedicated mentor to dozens of colleagues, Marianne passed away in 2014, leaving a legacy to be admired. My friend and colleague, Lisa Caputo, has lived the changes of business media over 3 decades with Aviation Week. She has shared her experience and built a department of talented graphic artists who, as a team, have developed strong digital capabilities while still producing 5 print publications per month. Lisa's hard work and lead-by-example approach have resulted in multiple Neal Award winners for her team, with whom she has shared her love for great design. Her passion for the work and dedication to her colleagues inspires splendid results. Congratulations, Lisa, on winning this distinguished award.
I'm honored to accept the Marianne Decker-Matera Award for Mentoring. I'd like to thank the Neal Awards Committee, my boss Mike Lavitt for nominating me, and my editor-in-chief Joe Anselmo and President Greg Hamilton for their constant encouragement and faith in me to share their vision. I also want to thank retired art director Robert McCauley, who hired me. My team is a pleasure to work with and mentor. They are a collaborative, flexible, positive bunch who are always looking to learn and grow. We create the content with sometimes extremely tight deadlines and lots of pressure, but always with a shared sense of fun and love of the work. I started my career at Time magazine. My mentors included Rudy Hoagland, Nigel Holmes, and Barbara Wilhelm, who is my friend to this day. I freelanced for most of the former McGraw-Hill pubs and count the art directors and designers of those magazines among my mentors and friends. I've learned something different everywhere I've worked and continue to both learn and teach every day. Thank you, Neal Committee.
Let's see what our finalists in the category of Best Use of Social Media delivered last year. Promo in the Wild, ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute. Birthday Greetings to Zing Contacts, Email Newsletter, Bears Furlog. CIO Leadership Live, CIO.com, IDG Communications. Coronavirus in the food and beverage industry, restaurant business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to Promo in the Wild, ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute.
I'm so pleased to present the finalists for our next category, Best Art Direction for a Single Article. At brand revenue of less than $3 million, our finalists are Political Divide, Counselor, Advertising Specialty Institute. A Gift Still Worth Giving, Advantages, Advertising Specialty Institute. Hurricane Marketing, Tech as a Compass in Today's Consumer Goods Storm, CGT, Ensemble IQ. The Right Mix, Multifamily Executive, Zonda Media. And the Neal goes to The Right Mix, Multifamily Executive, Zonda Media. We have a competition within the same brand for the next award. Winsight will duke it out for Best Art Direction for a Single Article. The finalists are What Gentlemen Prefer, Winsight Grocery Business, Winsight. The Future of Food, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to The Future of Food, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And closing the category are our last finalists. The AI Poet, IEEE Spectrum Magazine, IEEE Media. Rebooting Your Food Service Program, CSP, Winsight. Builder's Choice and Custom Home Design Awards, Zonda Media. Curated Connections, Builder Magazine, Zonda Media. And the Neal goes to Curated Connections, Builder Magazine, Zonda Media. Our next category is the best use of video or webcast. The 2021 finalists in the category of best use of video webcast are Sights and Sounds of Construction, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. FreightWaves Webcasts, Telling the Supply Chain Story, FreightWaves. Equipment World Videos, In-Depth Construction Equipment Overviews and Market Analysis, Randall Riley. Pro Tradecraft Video Studio, SGC Horizon. And the Neal goes to Sights and Sounds of Construction, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. Our next category is the best industry coverage. This category recognizes content that demonstrates original reporting on trends impacting an entire industry. Let's take a look at our first group of finalists. Air Transport World, in-depth coverage of key airline industry issues, Air Transport World, Informa. Best industry coverage, Pro Remodeler, SGC Horizon. Surging gun sales could soon become a workplace concern, SHRM Online, SHRM. Reporting on the affordable housing industry, Affordable Housing Finance, Zonda Media. And the Neal goes to Pro Remodeler, SGC Horizon. The finalists in the $3 to $7 million revenue range are Eddie Small's coverage of New York's rent relief program, Crane's New York business, Crane Communication. Biopharma Dive's coverage of the biotech and pharma industries, Industry Dive. Trends That Matter, Pro Builder Media, SGC Horizon. Ghost Kitchens, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to Biopharma Dive's coverage of the biotech and pharma industries, Industry Dive. And our last set of finalists for best industry coverage are Deep Dive into Construction Trends, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. Modern Healthcare, Best Industry Coverage, Crane Communications. Boeing's Annus Horribilis, Aviation Week and Space Technology, Informa. Funfire delves into diversity and equity in asset management, Funfire. Money Media FT. And the Neal goes to Deep Dive into Construction Trends, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. Now it's my pleasure to present another category that is new to the Neals in 2021. Best COVID-19 Industry Coverage. After a year like 2020, you can imagine the popularity of this category. This was a very tight competition. Here's the first group of finalists. ASICentral.com, Coronavirus Coverage. ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute. How federal COVID-19 relief funding flowed to the nation's biggest nonprofit and for-profit health systems. Healthcare Dive, Industry Dive. How COVID-19 is driving airline industry change. Air Transport World, Informa. The Billion Dose Dash, Taking the Lead, One Shot. Pharma Manufacturing, Putnam Media. And the Neal goes to ASICentral.com, Coronavirus Coverage, ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute. Our next group includes the first coronavirus vaccines have arrived. Here's where the rest stand. Biopharma Dive, Industry Dive. Restaurants and COVID-19, Restaurant Business, Winsight. A tipping point for grocery, Winsight Grocery Business, Winsight. Design on the front line, Architecture confronts the coronavirus, Architect, Zonda Media. And the Neal goes to Biopharma Dive, Industry Dive. In closing out Best COVID-19 Industry Coverage are our last group of finalists. COVID-19 in Construction, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. Post-Pandemic Reality, Investment News, Bond Hill Group. Tracking the marketing industry's response to COVID-19 in real time, Ad Age, Crane Communications. COVID Impact on Ag, DTN, Progressive Farmer. And the Neal goes to COVID-19 in Construction, Engineering News Record, BNP Media.
It's my distinct pleasure to present the 2021 Timothy White Award, given annually by the Neal Awards Committee to honor exemplary leadership, extraordinary courage, integrity, and passion. This award is named for longtime Billboard editor Tim White, who served as the music industry's moral compass by tackling controversial issues before he passed away in 2002. This year's winner is Steve Barrett, Vice President and Editorial Director of Haymarket Media's PR Week and Campaign US. Steve is a rare, passionate combination found only in the most successful editorial leaders. He's a staunch defender of editorial integrity with keen commercial instincts. And what's one of the most death-defying high-wire acts under the publishing big top, Steve is a master aerialist. Born in London and raised in Kent, Steve developed his commercial sense in his first career as a commission-only salesman. He switched tracks, finding himself at age 38 as the oldest intern at the Yorkshire Post. Stints at Media Week, Young People Now, and Revolution, all Haymarket titles in London, soon followed. Steve's been editor-in-chief of PR Week US in New York since 2010, building the title into the most authoritative and respected publication covering an industry that pitches and spins like a fast bowler. One thing you might not know about Steve, he's credited in the liner notes of Black Sabbath's album Born Again for his layout skills. You can find Finger Barrett's name right there under Ozzy Osbourne's. Please join me and the dozens of reporters, writers, presenters, and editors whom Steve has mentored in congratulating this year's Timothy White Award winner, Steve Barrett.
Well, this was unexpected, so thank you so much to the Neal Awards jury. I really appreciate the honor, and it's very humbling. None of this would have been possible without all the fantastic journalists and content producers I've worked with over the past 20 years at Haymarket Media. So thanks to them. Really, I'm just riding off the back of your amazing efforts. So I appreciate all that you've done for Haymarket and for the publications that I've worked on. B2B journalism gets underestimated, I think, and the winning work on display this year really proves what an excellent form of journalism it is, and what brilliant work everybody does under difficult circumstances with smaller teams and achieving more. So congrats to everyone who's won a Neal Award this year. Thanks again to Haymarket for the opportunities in the UK and the US over the past 2 decades. Appreciate it. Thanks most of all to my teams on PR Week and Campaign. Really appreciate everything you've done.
We are now up to Best Overall Art Direction and Design. Art directors may compete with editors for white space, but no one can deny the vital importance of visual design. Strong design draws you in and invites you to spend more time with the story. Here is the first group of finalists. Landscape Architecture Magazine, American Society of Landscape Architects. Residential Design Magazine, Sola Group. And the Neal goes to Landscape Architecture Magazine, American Society of Landscape Architects. Our next group includes M&M Haymarket Media, PR Week Haymarket Media, Restaurant Business Winsight, and the Neal goes to Restaurant Business Winsight. And rounding out Best Overall Art Direction and Design are our last group of finalists. Design in a Year of Pandemic, Engineering News Record, BNP Media. Investment News, Bonhill Group. Crane Chicago Business, Crane Communications. Celebrating a New Era in U.S. Spaceflight, Aviation Week and Space Technology, Informa. And the Neal goes to Design in a Year of Pandemic, Engineering News Record, BNP Media.
We're now up to Best Single Article. Here's the first group of finalists. Lethal Glass Landscapes, February 2020, Landscape Architecture Magazine, American Society of Landscape Architects. Few Places to Turn, Leaders Edge, Council of Insurance Agents and Brokers. Is this the end of college admissions tests? Higher Ed Dive, Industry Dive. Bring It Home, Inside the Movement to put generic drug production back on America's shores. Pharma Manufacturing, Putman Media. And the Neal goes to Lethal Glass Landscapes, February 2020, Landscape Architecture Magazine, American Society of Landscape Architects. Our next group includes A Conflicted Question, What is Fiduciary Advice? Financial Planning, Horizont. Rating the Register, Crane's New York Business, Crane Communication. Big Pharma backed away from brain drugs. Is a return in sight? Biopharma Dive, Industry Dive. Teachers are getting schooled on retirement. Wealthmanagement.com, Informa. And the Neal goes to Big Pharma backed away from brain drugs. Is a return in sight? Biopharma Dive, Industry Dive. And rounding out Best Single Article, here's our last group of finalists. When a small town loses its only bank, American Banker, Horizont. Black IT Leaders, The Challenging Path to the Top, CIO, IDG. Hidden World of Legacy IT, IEEE Spectrum Magazine, IEEE Media. What to do with 177 tanks of radioactive sludge, IEEE Spectrum Magazine, IEEE Media. And the Neal goes to What to do with 177 tanks of radioactive sludge, IEEE Spectrum Magazine, IEEE Media.
Now we are up to best single issue of a tabloid, newspaper, or magazine, a single issue that exemplifies a publication's mission. The finalists in the first revenue category are June 2020, Counselor, Advertising Specialty Institute. The Future of Restaurants issue, Plate, MTG Media Group. Special issue, COVID-19, The Way Forward, Development Magazine, Neal. October 2020, Roads and Bridges, Scranton Gillette Communication. And the Neal goes to The Future of Restaurants issue, Plate, MTG Media Group. The finalists in the next revenue category for best single issue of a tabloid, newspaper, or magazine are Conservation for Today and Tomorrow, Farm Journal. July 2020, the biggest issue in wealth management, Informa. October 2020, Builder, Zonda Media. The Carbon issue, guest edited by Architecture 2030, Architect, Zonda Media. And the Neal goes to The Carbon issue, guest edited by Architecture 2030, Architect, Zonda Media. Our last set of finalists for best single issue of a tabloid, newsletter, or magazine represent publications with more than $7 million in revenue. January 2020, American Banker, Horizon. August 3rd, 2020, Automotive News, Crane Communications. How AI will revolutionize forestry, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. Over a Barrel, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. And the Neal goes to Over a Barrel, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media.
We have arrived at best range of work by a single author. This is the highest individual honor for outstanding editorial work. The finalists in the first revenue category are Theresa Hegel, ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute. John Corrigan, ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute. Sarah Lewandowski, ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute. Todd Dills, Overdrive, Randall Riley. And the Neal goes to Theresa Hegel, ASI Media, Advertising Specialty Institute. The finalists in the next revenue category for best range of work by a single author are Andrew Welsh, Financial Planning, Horizon. Aaron Elstein, Crane's New York Business, Crane Communications. Steve Barrett, PR Week, Haymarket Media. Jonathan Mays, Restaurant Business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to Jonathan Mays, Restaurant Business, Winsight. Our last set of finalists for best range of work by a single author represent publications with more than $7 million in revenue. Mary Beth Franklin, Investment News, Bonhill Group. Rachel Coors, Modern Healthcare, Crane Communications. Irene Klotz, Aviation Week and Space Technology, Informa. And the Neal goes to Irene Klotz, Aviation Week and Space Technology, Informa.
Now we come to the final award of our main program, Best Media Brand and Overall Editorial Excellence. The finalists in the first revenue category are FreightWaves, American Shipper, FreightWaves, Supermarket News, Informa, and Chief Investment Officer, ISS Media. And the Neal goes to FreightWaves, American Shipper, FreightWaves. The judges found their integrated supply chain coverage incredibly on-brand and forward-thinking. Their amazing level of offerings and event catalog were impressive. The finalists in the next revenue category for Best Media Brand and Overall Editorial Excellence are Chemical and Engineering News, American Chemical Society, Nation's Restaurant News, Informa. Wealthmanagement.com, Informa. And Restaurant Business, Winsight. And the Neal goes to wealthmanagement.com, Informa. The judges appreciated that the entries showcased the brand's efforts to reach the audience in different ways: magazine, website articles, podcast, webinar, awards program. And the last group of finalists for Best Media Brand and Overall Editorial Excellence are Investment News, Bonhill Group, CIO, IDG, IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media, Aviation Week Network, Informa. And the Neal goes to IEEE Spectrum, IEEE Media. This is the second consecutive year IEEE Spectrum has won Best Media Brand in this revenue bracket. Its special report forecasting the next pandemic was comprehensive in its coverage and artful in its packaging and storytelling. Congratulations to all our winners in this category. What an amazing accomplishment. And this is the moment we've all been waiting for, the presentation of the Grand Neal Award. On behalf of the 2021 Judging Committee, I'd like to congratulate all of this year's winners and finalists for delivering such exceptional work under extraordinarily challenging circumstances. For 25 years, the Grand Neal has represented the pinnacle of editorial excellence in business media. Among a circle of champions, these are the best of the best, spanning all categories, revenue classifications, and media platforms. After almost 3 hours of discussion, debate, and voting, our jury narrowed down the winners to 4 outstanding finalists that we will now recognize. The third runner-up is Restaurant Business from Winsight for the Burger M disaster. The jury commented on their work as a quintessential example of true journalism at its finest. The second runner-up is Horizont for Access Denied, Systemic Racism in Financial Services. Winner of the 2021 Neal for Best Podcast, this excellently produced series impressed the jury with its great sources, solid material, comprehensive coverage of the topic, and no-holds-barred coverage. Congratulations, Horizont. The first runner-up is Plate from MTG Media Group for its best single issue, The Future of Restaurants. Congratulations to the entire Plate editorial team on this projective and personal look at the impact of COVID on one of our economy's largest employers. And the 2021 Grand Neal goes to IEEE Spectrum for their COVID-19 subject-related package, A Special Report, The Next Pandemic. This is the second consecutive Grand Neal win for IEEE for a subject-related package. In a year where COVID was a prevalent theme, the jury panel felt that this piece stood out for its unique approach, a look to the future, and thoughtful analysis that takes the reader to the next step. Congratulations to the entire editorial staff on this outstanding achievement.
I'm Glenn Zorpet, Executive Editor of IEEE Spectrum magazine. As the COVID-19 pandemic took hold in early 2020, Spectrum was unusually well positioned to cover this once-in-a-generation story. One of our senior editors, Eliza Strickland, has long been interested in biomedical technology, and we have 2 contributors, Emily Waltz and Megan Scudolari, who are veterans on the biomedical and biotechnology beats. These 3 superb journalists form the core of a reporting team that produced dozens of articles, including the ones that became the backbone of our October 2020 special issue, The Next Pandemic. For this issue, we are honored and delighted today to receive the Grand Neal Award from SIIA. We thank SIIA and the many talented professionals who volunteered their time as judges for recognizing our work, as well as that of the many outstanding journalists and editorial teams that participated this year. I'd like to give a great big thanks to everyone on the Spectrum staff who worked on this project and all the others who held down the fort and figured out how to keep Spectrum going with our staff literally spread around the country. And finally, a special thanks to the IEEE, our parent organization, for its steadfast support of independent journalism at a time when it is needed most.
What a great afternoon. Congratulations again to all of our finalists and winners. You have all become part of the great legacy of the Neal Awards. We truly recognize the best of the best here today. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and we'll see you again next year.